little review
Yeah.
on a movie that we saw separately because I took my niece out to go see it because it was for her birthday, and
I took Pancakes out to see it because I just love him so much. That's
yeah.
what it was.
So look, this movie is not for children.
Inside Out too. But you know what? That's part of the course for Pixar.
Right. It's not for children, not in a bad way. It's more of an intellectual movie for children. Like
Yes.
like for example, like my sister has put Inside Out, the original, on repeat at home. Not because it's it is a great movie, but she does that, and I got two nieces and they both watch it, and she's always asking them like, "Oh, well, what do you think this person feels like? How are they reacting and everything like that? How do you feel about that?" And they're sitting there trying to, figure out what each feeling is and how they're feeling and whatnot. And this movie, part two, I felt was like my niece said in the short that we posted. I felt part two was better than part one.
I love Inside Out in general. Like the first movie, I think is one of Pixar's best movies.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's I don't think it's underrated. People definitely love the movie, but I think it's up there with like Toy Story and the rest of them in terms
100%.
of. And I feel like they do a similar thing with like Toy Story. How like there's the human character with like the more cartoon. Like in this case, these are like the toys with Andy.
Right.
You have the emotions with Riley, and we see Riley grow up like throughout the series and everything. So I appreciate that. But yeah, no, I mean it's not for children in the way that like it's like it definitely gives them more awareness of like what their emotions should be as they grow up. That's definitely important. But like you could be a teenager watching this movie, you could be an adult watching this movie, and you could like you find something to resonate heavily with. I mean, for like people our age, like in our 30s, like the way the world's been, how hard work can be, and all that stuff. Like the scene where Joy is saying like she has her like pivotal moment or epiphany where she's like I guess like the older you get the less joy you feel because she's feeling like bad about like being needed less by Riley, and I was just like, damn, that was a deep line, and because it's true. It's so true.
And Joy had her own breakdown where it's like, you know how hard it is always to be so positive all the time
when you're surrounded by negativity all the time. Yeah, that's how it was too. So it's like moments
there's only
like
so
that.
much a person can be happy,
right? But moments like
happens.
that really brought like a straight reality to like the movie where it's just like you could just relate to it so much that it's just like this is just how life can be sometimes.
Right.
You can't just be joyful or sad. You have more complicated emotions that as your life gets more complicated.
Agreed. And that's why in the short I said that I literally want to see Riley in 5 years again, because at that point she's 13. In 5 years she would be 18. Imagine an Inside Out where the character is 18 years old and is trying to teach you about adulthood or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, if they give us like a Toy Story 3 level threequel to this movie, it'll kill the box office, because that's another thing too. This movie is destroying the box office.
Right. And since you brought that up, I'm going to throw some numbers out. So domestically, in what is it, barely 2 weeks or 3 weeks now that it's been out, it has made domestically $356,393,000. Now, internationally, it's made a slightly bit more at $392 million. So we're closing in at the $800 million mark. I guarantee you, by mid-July, this movie will hit $1 billion.
You think? You know what? That's even I wasn't expecting it.
You're at $748 million.
You're right. You're right.
In 2 weeks. In 2 weeks.
You're right.
Don't forget, school's out now.
Right, and all the kids are looking to watch something. Yeah.
And what better place to go than the movie theater, where the parents could be like, "Oh, I don't have to be sitting in the heat. There's air conditioning."
Yeah.
give them some
So-
food and
Especially
everything
this
like
weekend.
that. Yeah.
So with numbers like that, you know that Disney and Pixar is gonna fast track the third movie.
Nope.
And it's not gonna
Nope.
be. It's not gonna be 9 years between movies again.
I don't think that they're going to fast track it. I think that they're just going to take their sweet time like they do with every one of their movies.
Well,
Pixar needs time to come up with the ideas, to write the script, to make sure that it's a solid movie.
So when I saw the initial trailer, up until recently, I never saw the first one, so I had no emotional connection to it. And when I saw the trailer, I just dismissed it as a kids movie, but without realizing it was Pixar. I don't get me wrong, I love Pixar and the history, but gave the movie a chance. I watched the first movie to understand what was going on in this one. The first movie was just all right, but the second movie, I loved it. It was way better. And once again, Johnny 64, you were right.
Like I said, just another Wednesday.
But but all joking aside, this is definitely the better movie. But Lewis Black as Anger is the best casting.
Now, for the first movie, him being in it was like the main pull for me to want to watch
Right.
it in the first place. And I think if we're gonna go into criticisms about this movie, I feel like this time around, like the secondary emotions got like a backseat a little too much at times. I felt like, Anger wasn't doing things that Riley would feel angry for. Like I feel like the emotions, like what their role would be in Riley's mind, they weren't doing what they should have been doing. Like they were just doing generic things to move the story forward. Like
Right.
they weren't doing emotion related things that would give their characters more purpose in that sense. But I mean, everybody had that place in the story. I just felt like they weren't utilized the way that they could have been.
And Phyllis Smith as Sadness, perfect casting. Of course, I love her as her role as Phyllis on The Office, but her voice embodies that emotion so perfectly. Maybe next to Lewis Black, she was the standout character.
I would say she's the most, at least from the first movie, she was the most iconic voice, the most iconic
Yeah.
character. Everybody loved Sadness the most in the first movie. They were making memes about her. They were just like relating to her the most because it was just like, yeah, sometimes I just want to lie face first on the floor and just like sigh and just give up.
But Amy Poehler, man, as Joy, she was good in the first from what I saw, but she really stepped up her emotional performance voicing Joy here.
Oh, yeah.
She was tremendous. Maya Hawke as Anxiety, perfect. Like if you remember how she talked as a character on Stranger Things, she was perfect to do the nonstop talking and
She had to play Anxiety, right? So
and Riley, you should do this. We have to fit in with the hockey team and.
Yeah, but like I said, if you're like a teenager, you relate to that. If you're an adult, you relate to how how, like I said before, like joy was, you don't feel joy as much as when you're older. If you're a kid, like, you resonate with like the simpler emotions that you have, when you're younger and everything. So this movie had a lot for everybody to just really take in. And I think like that's why we're seeing it succeed so much. Like I said, it's blowing past my expectations. I thought this movie, even if this movie was really good, I wasn't expecting it to really, not move the needle, but like I wasn't expecting it to do billion-dollar levels of success, because I mean Disney hasn't been doing too well lately, right? So Pixar, I think they're Disney's savior at the moment because like with their other flops like Wish and whatnot, they just have not been doing well in general.
Let's not forget those movies came out with the Bob Iger era, where
Bob Chapek era.
The Bob Chapek era. Too many Bobs.
Yeah.
It came out with the Bob Chapek era, and he was just like, make more, make more, make more.
Right.
So,
and I think now we're starting to see that transition happen between this and Disney's other properties in general.
Yeah.
But
More quality over quantity.
well,
that's what we want.
That's what Bob Iger has always said. You need quality over quantity because people, if you have quality, you're always going to have quantity because they're going to keep making good quality stuff. How many Pixar movies have you seen that you absolutely hated? Even Lightyear, it wasn't great, but it was okay. It wasn't the worst thing out there.
I would say Lightyear and maybe Cars 2. Yeah, definitely Cars 2 is like the only like weak Pixar movies. Everything else has been like really good to phenomenal,
and it still made them millions.
Yeah.
So let's be real here. Pixar is probably the best thing Steve Jobs has ever done.
yeah.
So, and you guys want to bring up anything else?
I don't know. Anything else that you guys didn't like about the movie?
Didn't like about the movie. I don't know. That's pretty hard. I rated it better than the original. So finding something that I
Like, because
hated
reviewers
about
were calling it like a masterpiece. I wouldn't say it was like a perfect movie.
No.
But I see
it
why
wasn't
people
Toy
loved it so
Story
much.
2. It wasn't Toy
Toy
Story,
Story 2. Toy Story 3, maybe.
Or 3, yeah.
Maybe.
Toy Story 2 was just okay, as the memes say. But
Maybe at times it felt like on screen crowded, maybe one too many characters a little
Well,
bit.
that's you have a lot of emotions, my friend. You
that's
gotta have.
that's
True,
probably
true.
why, like what I was saying before, like a lot of the secondary emotions were getting sidelined a little bit in the
Yeah.
process. But yeah, because now we had a whole new slew of emotions like anxiety and embarrassment. Who is, if Big Rim is here right now, I would be like on his ass about how much he is just all embarrassment. Like he's the perfect like 1-to-1 on that one. And then who else did we have? We had
Shout out to you, Big Grim.
Wanted a great, not a big role, but a cameo of Ron Fudges at Bluefy, which was a spoof character of Blue's Clues or Dora the Explorer.
Yeah, oh, you had those moments.
His voice was who voiced Pocky or the bag, and he had great interactions with anger.
James Austin Johnson.
yeah.
Like what?
As Pouchy.
Pouchy had the dynamite, like it was a gag.
Like how much dynamite do you have?
He just kept pulling it out. The one person that I liked was Paul Walter Hauser as embarrassment.
Yeah,
Like
he was perfect.
He barely said anything.
He had like one actual line.
Right, and I think he did a great job. I just wonder, how much does someone get paid for having that one line? Like, I know that Vin Diesel actually did only one line.
I
and
am
they coulda-
Groot.
Right, and they could have just, copy
But at least
paste.
that was said again and again throughout the movie. He just
Right.
had whimpers and stuff, and then at the towards the end of the movie, he had an actual sentence. I was like, I think that was his first line in the
That
entire
was.
movie.
It was his first and only line. But yeah, no, he did great. So I think the movie was great. I think if you have children, take them out, go watch it, and then have a conversation with them and see how they feel about the movie and how every character resonates with themselves.
Yeah, if I'm going to put a final thought on this movie, it's just that this is a very important movie to watch. I think if you're growing up, if you're a teenager, you're going into like high school or going into college or working for the first time, like there's just a lot of changes that life brings about onto you, like
Right.
mentally. And this movie did a phenomenal job, like just characterizing all
Yes.
the different things that you feel and like progression of it all. So like it like with like I said, part of the course with most Pixar movies, this movie's gonna make you think, in a good way.
Any closing thoughts?
Just go see it.
That's
Let's go
it.
see it.
Simple
So-
as that.
Did you
Yeah.
guys see it? Did you like it? There's no way you hated it,
Yeah.
so I'm not even going to say
Was it
that.
just okay like Toy Story 2 to you?
It was better. It was better.
It was definitely better than Toy Story 2.
Let us know in the comment section down below.